Hey guys, welcome back to Fantasy Tip. My name is Julian, and I apologize once again for the sound quality and the backdrop, a bunch of things in this video, guys. I am still super sick, and I'm definitely not able to get to my studio where I normally record, so please bear with me. I really wish I could be there recording as usual with, my better sound quality, but unfortunately, I'm still stuck here at home, and I'm trying to record and do the best I can to get videos out for you as much as I can. And this video is about the top 50 defensemen in the NHL. And this is obviously a really exciting video, guys. Like, a lot of you guys have been asking me for lists of who I think the best defensemen, or the best forwards, or the best overall players are. And finally, guys, I am delivering. If you haven't already seen my top 50 players video, you can check that out right up there, guys. Before I jump into my top 50 players, though, guys, please leave a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you want to take your support to the next level, follow me on Patreon, guys. Patreon subscribers get to see my schedule for the entire preseason, so when I'm going to release new videos, they get to know exactly what I'm going to release and when, and they also get early access to my videos. Obviously, with me being sick, I haven't been uploading videos too early lately, but usually I record videos well in advance. You can get a whole bunch of videos before they actually come out if you are a Patreon subscriber, and that goes for the entire season. So usually I'll set videos to release, for example, for a Saturday. Usually they'll be ready the Thursday night or the Friday night. So you'll definitely get some solid early access videos if you decide to follow me on Patreon. One last thing before we jump into it, guys. I want to make it very clear that this is for hits leagues, okay? I do have a separate list for you guys. If you're in a non-hits league, you can check that out in the description, of the top 50 defensemen. There's a pretty big difference if you have hits in your league versus if you don't have hits in your league for the best fantasy defenseman, because a lot of defensemen hit a lot. So that's going to alter things quite a bit. So do check that out in the description if you haven't already. So let's jump into the list now. Let's start with the number one defenseman on my list, and that is Cale Makar of the Colorado Avalanche. He is the consensus number one defenseman. There's no surprise here, guys. He is the first defenseman going off draft board, so there's not really a whole lot of discrepancy here. His ADP right now is about 14, which is where I think he should be going. So good ranking for Cale Makar. Next, I have Roman Josi, and he's only 2 seasons removed from his 96-point year. And while I don't think he's going to hit 96 points this year, I think he's going to have himself an awesome year. Last year, he missed, 18 games or so, which isn't that big of a deal. I'm not too worried about him being an injury risk. This dude is a top-tier defenseman. A lot of people are worried about Nashville being a worse team this year. I'm not. I actually do think they are a better team. I think a lot of these veteran guys had to go to make room for the younger core, and then they brought in O'Reilly. I think overall they're going to be a more cohesive team, and I think Josi is going to look really good. I cannot believe that he's the 5th defenseman off the board. It's a good value if you do end up getting him as the 5th defenseman off the board. At number 3, I have Rasmus Dahlin. Last year had an amazing breakout year with 73 points in 78 games. Love to see it. It's been a long time coming for Dahlin, but he is an absolute stud. And Buffalo's team is no joke. They got a really good first line with Skinner, Tage Thompson, and Alex Tuch. Okay, Buffalo is no joke, and I do like Dahlin once again this year. Got him at number 3. Brandon Montour is a guy who I have at number 4. A lot of you are saying that Brandon Montour is going to be injured to start the year. From reports that I've been reading, he may be good to start the year. He's going to be a little bit injured getting into training camp, but he might be good to play all 82 games this year. And if he does, look for him to record a similar season to last year, guys. He was given the full green light last year to play on the top power play and to really show what he can do. And guys, he took that job and ran with it. A lot of you are scared that they might give it to Forsling or to Ekblad, but guys, Brandon Montour showed what he could do last year, and that's why they're going to stick him with a job. He's going to keep that job, and he's going to have another amazing year in Florida. Then I have John Carlson at number 5. Last year scored only 29 points in 40 games, so he did miss half the year. But for some reason, right now, he's being drafted as the 17th defenseman off the board. That blows my mind. He is a top 5 or at least top 7 or 8 defensemen in my books. He is an amazing, amazing guy. He's got a lot of talent around him with Ovi, with Kuznetsov hopefully having a bounce back this year, and possibly Pacioretty if he can stay healthy as well. So there's a lot of offensive talent over there in Washington. And John Carlson has always been an exemplary player. And I think if he plays a full season this year, which he should because he doesn't usually miss a lot of time, last year was an exception, he's going to have another amazing year. If you can get him close to that 17th defenseman off the board where he's going right now at almost 100, that is an absolute steal. Next on the list, I got Miro Heiskanen at number 6. Had an amazing year last year, finally being that number 1 defenseman in Dallas. 73 points in 79 games. And guys, Dallas's team is not going anywhere. If anything, they got even better on the offseason. So he's going to continue being that power play quarterback and definitely going to have himself an amazing, amazing year. And number 7, I have Dougie Hamilton, which is lower than a lot of people have him, but I'm a little bit worried. And the reason I'm worried, not of his talent, the dude's amazingly talented and obviously had a really good year with the Devils last year. I'm worried about Luke Hughes. If Luke Hughes looks really, really good in the preseason, which I think he will, there's a decent chance that at some point during the year, he takes over as that top power play quarterback instead of Dougie Hamilton. And that really, really, really lowers Hamilton's value because him being on that top power play is where a lot of his points and a lot of his value comes from. So if Luke Hughes were to take over that spot, Dougie Hamilton loses a lot of value. For now, I have him at number 7, but personally, I won't be drafting him this year. Alex Pietrangelo is a guy I have at number 8, going at an ADP of 111.6. This guy is going insanely late in drafts. Yes, he only got 54 points in 73 games last year, but his peripherals are really, really good, guys. Check those out. And if you kind of sum everything up, his peripherals and his points totals, which he easily can hit 50 points again next year, Alex Pietrangelo is pretty safe, pretty much as safe as it gets, and he's definitely someone that's a really good fantasy defenseman. That's why I got him at number 8. Definitely good value where he is going. Then I have Adam Fox at number 9. And what blows my mind is he's the number 2 defenseman off fantasy boards. I get it, guys. Fox is amazing. He's super talented. But that doesn't always translate into fantasy points. Last year, 72 points in 82 games. Obviously fantastic, right? But his peripheral stats, not that great. Really not that great. And that's why his value is lowered a significant amount. So the fact that he's going at ADP 38.2, he's someone that you absolutely have to be avoiding this year in drafts. At number 10, I got Charlie McAvoy with 52 points in 67 games only last year. Yeah, he had himself a nice year, some good plus minus, and obviously he missed the beginning of the year but looked really good when he returned. Boston's not going to be as good this year. Get that out of your head. He's not going to do quite that good again. But Charlie McAvoy is pretty safe as they come, honestly. He's playing on a pretty good Bruins team, going to be a top power play quarterback, gets pretty good peripherals. He's someone I don't mind drafting as the number 10 defenseman off the board. Some of you might have been wondering, where is Erik Karlsson? Well, here he is at number 11. And he's currently going as the number 3 defenseman off the board. And in my opinion, that is crazy. Don't do that, okay? I know a lot of you are very excited to see him in Pittsburgh, and so am I. But for him to be the number 3 defenseman off the board, he's going to have to hit over 100 points again, which is not going to happen in Pittsburgh, guys. I understand he hit it in San Jose last year. Why wouldn't he hit it on a better Penguins team? Well, he's going to touch the puck less, guys. There was zero talent on that Sharks team, so he was always on the ice, always on the power play. Sure, he's going to be on the power play in Pittsburgh, but there's no way he's hitting 100 points again this year. I think he's going to hit somewhere between 70 and 80 points. And if he does, this is exactly where he's going to slot in at number 11 off the draft boards. He's going too early, guys. If he does happen to drop to around 11th defenseman off the board, go ahead and draft him. But guys, I'm not touching him as early as he's going. Number 12, I have Moritz Seider at ADP 86.7 right now. Last year at 42 points in 82 games, but did miss the whole first half of the year last year on the top power play because they put Hronek there instead of him, which really hurt his fantasy value. He was almost a droppable player. Once Hronek got traded, he looked a whole lot better. This year should be top power play. I'm a little bit worried that Gostisbehere might get it, but Moritz Seider is definitely someone who should have a nice bounce back year this year if Detroit is smart and puts him on that top power play. Number 13, I have Evan Bouchard of the Edmonton Oilers. And yeah, he's obviously jumped a lot after that playoffs that he had last year. 40 points in 82 games, but he's going to do a whole lot better than that this year. He's going to be top power play with McDavid and Draisaitl the whole year this year. Last year he was not until Barrie was traded, but he is going to be this year, and it's going to be really exciting to watch because he's going to be one of the top defensemen this year. Got him at number 13. At number 14, I have Josh Morrissey. Obviously had an amazing breakout year with 76 points in 78 games. Now the Jets, they did get a little bit worse this year. Pierre-Luc Dubois is gone. Velarde comes in. Iafallo comes in. I don't think they're that much worse, if I'm being perfectly honest. Obviously, Blake Wheeler goes out as well. I think the Jets might actually have a better season than a lot of people think. They may not make the playoffs, but it won't be by much if they do miss the playoffs. Josh Morrissey could have himself a nice year. Now, last year, I don't think it was a fluke. I do think he's going to have himself a pretty good year. I'm just not expecting a year quite as good as last year. That's why I dropped him down to number 14. Number 15, this is where I have Mikhail Sergachev. 64 points in 79 games last year. Sergachev did really good, guys, once they put him on that top power play. Now, the thing is, in Tampa Bay, both the guys, Hedman and Sergachev, kind of live and die by that top power play. Whoever doesn't get the top power play is going to lose a lot of fantasy value. And that's why both these guys are going pretty early, and one of these guys is probably going to be a bust. So that kind of sucks. And that's why I do think Sergachev has the edge this year to play top power play, and that's why I got him at number 15. At number 16, I have Darnell Nurse of the Edmonton Oilers, and he's basically as safe as it gets, right? ADP 102.9, which is right about where you should be drafting him. 43 points, 82 games. That's pretty standard for him points-wise, but he does a whole lot peripherals-wise as well. He hits, he blocks, and he gets shots on goal, guys. So he gives you a very safe floor night in and night out, and that's why I got him at number 16. Quinn Hughes is quite the opposite. He's always someone who goes pretty early in drafts, and he doesn't really deserve to be going as early as he does, right? People look at the stats, 76 points in 78 games, like, no-brainer, I'm drafting this guy. But his peripherals are almost non-existent. So if you're in a pure points league, fine, you can draft him that early. Anything but a pure points league, which is not very common these days, don't draft Quinn Hughes that early. I got him at number 17. Number 18, I got Jacob Trouba. And yeah, I still love me some Jacob Trouba, right? He's going at ADP of 128.2. So pretty decent value there. 30 points in 82 games, which is something you can expect again. About a 30 points or so playing PP2 minutes in New York. But the nice thing about Trouba is peripherals. Puts up, kind of like Darnell Nurse, hits, blocks, and shots really good at shot blocking. So Trouba's someone who definitely can give you a safe floor if you do have all those peripherals in your league. Number 19, I have Shea Theodore of the Vegas Golden Knights, and he's going really late at 144.6, but he's their top power play quarterback. Well, Vegas kind of runs two power plays, but either way, Shea Theodore is a pretty good player. If he can stay healthy this year, he's going to have himself a nice year. And number 20, Mike Matheson. Yeah, a lot of you might be saying, Mike Matheson, number 20? Yeah, okay? He needs to stay healthy, okay? That's a disclaimer right here. That's a disclaimer. He needs to stay healthy. But, so if you want to dock him a few more spots, if you think he's going to be injured again this year, that's fine. But man, once this guy was healthy last year, he was so good. He was finally, for the first time in his career, given the opportunity to be a number one defenseman in Montreal. Okay? A number one defenseman. And he's going to get that same opportunity this year. The Habs don't really have anybody else who's going to fill that number one team man role. Mike Matheson looks really good. The peripherals he put up were crazy. And he put up 34 points in just 48 games, okay? If he can do anything even remotely close to that this year on a better Habs team that could be healthy, I'm really excited to see what he can offer this year. He's an absolute steal, going at 163.8. Yeah, maybe I wouldn't draft him before some of the next guys on this list because you can get him later, but this is the upside he has. At number 21, I have Brent Burns. You guys, Brent Burns, number 21. Why is he so low? I'm a little worried about Brent Burns this year, guys. Carolina went and grabbed Tony DeAngelo, who is a very good power play one quarterback. Does that mean that they're going to knock Brent Burns off the top power play? It's very possible that DeAngelo takes over that top power play. If he does, Brent Burns loses a lot of value, and that's why I slid him down to number 21. I was originally going to slide him in at number 11, but with that scare of DeAngelo, I did dock him 10 spots. If he does keep the top power play spot, he's around the number 11th best defenseman. But I'm a little bit worried, and that's why I docked him to number 21. At number 22, I have Justin Falk, who's pretty much as safe as it comes these days. 50 points, 82 games. You can expect that again from Justin Falk. He's a PP2 quarterback, and he gets you a whole bunch of peripherals to keep you a safe floor. 50 points, like you can't go wrong with this guy. Very safe pick. Good for most types of leagues. Number 23, Noah Dobson is the power play one quarterback in New York. 48 points in 78 games last year. He's as safe as they come, right? You know he's going to do well. He's going to have the power play in New York. He's a very good defenseman. Going to put up some okay peripherals. He's someone that I like at number 23. Drew Doughty, I got him at number 24. 52 points in 81 games. He's been the power play quarterback in Los Angeles for many, many years. The only thing that I would be worried about this year for Drew Doughty is Brant Clark. He's an amazing prospect and could potentially threaten for that top power play spot. He is that talented. But the fact that Drew Doughty's had it for so long, I think it's going to take quite a bit for him to be eclipsed on that top power play. Got Drew Doughty at number 24. At number 25, I have Mackenzie Weegar. Now, Max doesn't think Calgary is going to be very good next year. He thinks it's going to be an absolute disaster. Honestly, I think Calgary, with a new coaching staff, breath of fresh air in the organization, they can re-sign Lindholm, that'd be great. I think Calgary is going to actually be a pretty decent team. I think that they might actually sneak into a wild card spot in the Western Conference. Now, Mackenzie Weegar had a terrible year last year, was not utilized properly. Everyone's like, oh, I got to put him on the power play. Weegar never had power play time in Florida. No matter who tells you he did not really have any power play time on Florida, okay? He's going to put up a few more points in this, but more importantly, he's going to put up better peripherals. Okay, so Weegar is someone who definitely is going late in drafts and has a really big opportunity here to bounce back. At number 26, I have Vince Dunn, and I'm not going to talk about him too much, but overall, guys, Seattle's goals per game was high. It might go down quite a bit, and Vince Dunn shooting at 9.4% is also pretty high. So I expect a little bit of regression for Vince Dunn. I still expect a pretty good year. That's why I got him at number 26, but that's why I don't have many higher than that. At number 27, I have Victor Hedman. I know it seems low for Hedman, but if he doesn't get that top power play, it's hard to rank him any higher than this, guys. When he didn't have that top power play last year, he was absolutely terrible, okay? Obviously, this is a bad ranking for him if he ends up getting the top power play to start the season, but it's hard to tell right now in August when I'm putting out this video. That's why at this point, I have him at number 27. At number 28, I have Devon Taves, who doesn't get power play unless Makar is injured, but still does super well every year. 50 points last year in 80 games. You can expect something similar. Pretty good peripherals as well from Devon Taves. Got him at number 28. At number 29, I have Zach Werenski, who's coming from an injury last year. Only 13 games, 8 points. And he's going to be a guy who's going to put up quite a bit of points on Columbus as long as he can stay healthy. Now, that Columbus team is not as bad as people think, you know. They got Liney, they got Boone Jenner, Gaudreau, Adam Fantilli. They got some good pieces, okay? And that top power play may not be so bad, especially if Werenski's back and quarterbacking it. I think he's going to have himself a pretty decent year. Got him at number 29. Hopefully he stays healthy this year. Number 30, I have Thomas Chabot, 41 points in 68 games. I'm a little bit worried about Ottawa, okay? Personally, I'm not drafting any defenseman from Ottawa, but this is where I have Chabot ranked. And the reason I'm not drafting any defenseman from Ottawa, it's just because we don't know who's going to really get that top power play in Ottawa. And whoever does, obviously, is going to end up with a lot of value. But is it going to be Chabot? Right now, I think he has the advantage. But is it going to be Chabot? Is it going to be Sanderson? Is it going to be Chychrun? There's a lot of defensive talent over there right now in Ottawa. And I'm not sure which one is actually going to get, that top power play time. So for now, I have Chabot as getting that top power play time. Let's wait till preseason, right? If we see preseason Chabot's getting it, easy. Number 30 ranked defenseman, that's where I got him. But we're going to have to wait and see. At number 31, I have Rasmus Andersson with 49 points in 79 games. And obviously, he's a pretty safe defenseman, right? He's top power play. And Calgary had a miserable year last year. So Rasmus Andersson only has room really to improve this year, right? I think the Flames are going to be quite a bit better this year. I don't think he's going to get that much higher than 50 points. But if he does hit 50 points, it's pretty safe. His peripherals aren't too bad. I think Rasmus Andersson does belong around number 31. Number 32, I have Tony DeAngelo. Tony DeAngelo, if he gets top power play in Carolina, oh boy, does he ever have a lot of value, right? This is his ranking if he does get the top power play. If he doesn't, obviously he falls out of the top 50 completely. But I do think that there's a good chance that he gets it because he's a very good power play quarterback, and I will talk about that more in a future video. Now, Seth Jones at number 33 is someone who I think might have a little bit of a bounce back year. I think he's still going a little bit too early for my liking, but last year had a miserable season. Had the worst plus minus in the league. 37 points only in 72 games. This year, does get Connor Bedard, does get Taylor Hall. I think they're going to have a little bit of a better power play this year, so that Seth Jones hopefully at least hits 40, 45 points, and I think he's going to have himself a better year. Got him at number 33. Jacob Chychrun, I got him at number 34. Again, Ottawa, I don't know who's going to go where. Jacob Chychrun obviously has a lot of talent, but we're going to have to wait and see where he actually ends up in the lineup. For now, I got him at number 34. Number 35, Aaron Ekblad obviously was hurting a lot from that playoff series, got really injured. So hopefully he's okay. But he is only the number 2 defenseman now in Florida on the depth chart. So only really gains a lot of value if Montour gets injured. But for now, I got him at number 35. Now, number 36, I have Chris Letang. And I had him a whole lot higher, right? The dude hits a lot, so his floor is not too bad. And obviously top power play in Pittsburgh. can't go wrong. But then Pittsburgh went and acquired Erik Karlsson, so I had to move Letang down quite a bit. He's only going to be getting power play 2, so his ceiling is not as high this year, guys. I think he still probably hits 40 points-ish, but it's a risky pick picking Chris Letang this year after they've gotten, EK 65. So I'm going to be staying away from Letang personally. As much as I love the guy, I'm not going to be drafting him, but this is where I have him on my draft board. At number 37, I have Jared Spurgeon, 34 points in 79 games. Dude's super underrated. Did that without top power play last year. They gave it to Addison pretty much the entire year last year. Addison, not really fantasy relevant, has no peripherals at all. Maybe he does a little bit better on that power play. Maybe he puts up a few more points. But the lack of peripherals really hurts Addison, which is why Spurgeon is kind of the guy. Gets points, gets peripherals. Got him at number 37. Adam Larson. It's a guy who I loved last year. It's kind of surprising. 33 points, something that could be replicable-ish. He's going to definitely get a little bit less because Seattle definitely did score a lot more than they were supposed to last year. Maybe he gets 27 points-ish. But his peripherals are really, really good. So as long as he keeps that up, he's definitely a pretty viable fantasy defenseman in leagues where peripherals are big. Got him at number 38. At number 39, I got John Klingberg. And I do think he takes over as that number 1 power play specialist in Toronto, which pretty much knocks Morgan Riley of any value that he has this year. But Klingberg, I think, could have a nice bounce back year, right? You look at his past year in Dallas, he was a really, really good power play quarterback. Obviously, he's kind of fallen off a little bit over the past couple of years, but he did kind of show what he can do in Minnesota last year at the end of the year and the playoffs. So I do think he can have a nice bounce back year with the offensive powerhouse that is the Toronto Maple Leafs. Number 40, I have Sean Durzi, and I think he's going to be the top power play guy in Arizona. A lot of people are really underrating this guy right now, right? He's going really, really, really late in drafts, which isn't fine for me. I'll scoop him super late in the draft, for sure. Especially once we get around to preseason rolling around and we do see him actually playing on that top power play unit. He's definitely someone that could have a lot of fantasy value. Got him at number 40. Number 41, I have Mattias Ekholm. Obviously looked great coming over from Nashville to Edmonton last year, and I think he can continue that. And I think he's not going to be quite that great, but he could continue to be a pretty good fantasy defenseman. Number 42, Keandre Miller. 43 points in 79 games out there. Could do something pretty similar this year. Decent peripherals for him as well. Pretty safe floor. I don't mind Keandre Miller this year. I don't think he's going to do a whole lot more than that, but I do think that season is repeatable. Luke Hughes. For now, I have him at 43. I'm going to have to see it first, right? To rank him higher than this, it's hard to right now, right? We don't know if he's going to be getting that top power play. If he does, he definitely could be a lot higher than this, as a fantasy defenseman. But for now, I haven't seen it. I got him at number 43. Gustav Forsling, 44. He's the third Panthers defenseman I have on this list. At this point, he's a pretty safe guy to be having, right? He's going to get a point every 2 games, put up some semi-decent peripherals. That's pretty much all you need. Got him at number 44. Then Bowen Byram, 24 points in 42 games last year. He's an amazing young defenseman, and I like him a lot. But I got him this low because the dude is so injury prone, okay? A lot of guys I didn't factor in injuries because, a lot of guys are probably going to be healthy, but Bowen Byram is someone who can never stay healthy, and that's why I have to have him this low on the list. At 46, I have Hampus Lindholm, guys, and yes, he had an amazing year last year. 53 points, best plus minus in the NHL. This year, I project him to 40 points, but I think it still might be generous. 10 goals, 30 assists, plus 20 instead of a plus 43. And this is where he projects. As number 46 best fantasy defenseman, I still think those projections might be a bit generous, but this is where I got him on my draft board. Number 47, Luke Schenn. Dude hits like crazy. Led the leagues in hits per game last year, and I think he can do it again this year as long as Nashville utilizes him properly. Got him at number 47. And number 48, Noah Hanifin. 38 points in 81 games. I know Shillington's back, but Hanifin shouldn't really be affected by that too much. He should still put up a point every 2 games or so, which gives him a safe enough floor. Got him number 48. He's not a sexy pick, but he's an okay pick. Neil Pionk, in hitting leagues, got himself a decently safe floor because he does hit quite a bit. 33 points in 82 games. That's definitely something that's repeatable. I think he could even do a little bit better than that. Maybe 40 points or so is definitely not out of the question for Neil Pionk. And that's why I got him at number 49. At number 50, this is where I put Jake Sanderson for now. If he ends up getting top power play, obviously he's going to shoot up that board, probably to where Shabbat is at number 30. But as of right now, I have no idea who's going to be starting on that top power play in Ottawa, which is why I got Jake Sanderson at number 50. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. If you enjoyed the content today, please leave a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And be sure to follow me on Patreon if you do want to take your sport to the next level. Thanks so much, guys, and I'll catch you in the next episode of Fantasy Tipped.